Hello, hello, hello. I'm so glad to see you here in Northern Illinois. As you can see, my snow is gone for the time being. We've had some rain and freezing, and I don't have much left. But that makes it easier for the squirrels to find all the nuts, I guess. Which is highly entertaining for me. I know I'm pretty simple that way. If you don't know who I am, I'm Rita Hickman, and I'm a body mind expert, I'm a shiatsu massage therapist, and I'm an Asian medicine energy worker. And what this means is that I know how to work the body in order to feel great. I know how to figure out how to work with who we are, our subconscious and our unconscious, and especially our nervous system, so that we stop feeling so overwhelmed and we can start functioning again. So today's topic is the secret to caring when you're too mad to care. Hi, Julie. How great to see you. I'm glad you're here today. The reason I did this topic is because I've been having some women coming into my office lately, and I'm seeing a very common theme. And the theme is that they're mad. They're mad a lot. And they're so mad that they just don't care. And they're women who've been giving all of their lives, who are kind and compassionate, who give to everybody, who, they're the first ones that you call, and they always have a cheerful demeanor, and they're the biggest support for everybody else. And that's who's walking into my office, these women who've spent a lifetime being giving and loving people, and are now angry, and they don't know why they're so angry. Hi, Jasmine. How great to see you. They have no idea why they're so angry, and they're tired of it. And it's gotten to the point where they don't care. Their marriages are on the rocks. Hi, Evelyn. How great to see you. Their marriages are on the rocks. They hate their job. They're ready to walk out. And their kids are usually in their 20s or so, and they don't have too much of a distraction anymore in order to let them know that they don't care. So let me start out with one of my favorite philosophers. His name is Alan Watts. And he used to say, if you want love, you need to start by loving anything at all. It could be a chocolate bar. It could be, hi, Carolyn, nice to see you. It could be, some stranger you don't know. It could be anything. And once you start opening that door to love, that kindness and that warmth, then more grows. Now that's a great philosophy. The problem with that philosophy is most of us have been taught that we need to love everything else. We need to give that love and passion to people. Hi, Pam, great to see you. To people and to situations and to environments that don't have the ability to give back to us, that aren't nurturing us in return. It's like we're throwing our love away and our care and our compassion to politics and people who we don't know and people who will never be able to give back to us. And that's become a real problem. Because if you were raised like I was, with Mother Teresa and Gandhi and all of these great icons, it was about how important it was to sacrifice ourselves for everybody else. And when you had kids, it was the perfect opportunity. Hi, Ronnie, great to see you. It was the perfect opportunity to give until you were done. But now as times have gone past, maybe a few decades, and I said your kids are in their 20s or teens, our well starts to get empty. We've been sacrificing so much and giving so much. Hi, Lillian, great to see you. That we get to the point where there's nothing left because no one is giving us that nurturing and care in return. And as adults, we're told, too bad. I have too many problems. I have too many issues of my own. I can't care about you. I have to care about, politics, or I have to care about this war, or I have to care about the environment or women's rights. And these things are super important. I'm not saying they aren't. But I had another mentor who would always say, you need to give from your overflow. You have to give from what's left over. And the first person that you need to nurture and feel loving thoughts towards is you. Because when we get angry, being angry and mad and furious and in a rage is a side effect. It's not the cause of what's going on. It's not the cause of our detachment. It's a side effect of the fact that we are so empty, that we're getting so few things coming back at us that that we've got nothing left. Carolyn says, worrying about things out of our control takes energy away from what we do have control over. Yeah. But we get so sucked in. You know, look at all the commercials around that. Look at, there's something wrong. You need to fix this. We need to, you know, stand up and make a change. We need to come together. And that stuff's important. But we're missing the important piece behind it, which is we come together so that we can share, we can nurture one another, and we can love one another. That's why we come together. We can come together in order to make great change in the world, and that's really important. And anger is a fabulous motivation for change. But we've almost gotten beyond anger to the point where we don't care anymore. We just don't care. Hi, Patty. How great to see you. Women are so overwhelmed and so overburdened by caring about so much that now they're mad because they haven't gotten anything back. The challenge is, though, is we keep looking for people or situations around us to give us back what we've been giving out all of our lives. Now, that's great if everybody had the personality of a Labrador Retriever, you know, where they have this ability to love and love and love. You know, we aren't surrounded by that anymore. We aren't surrounded by people who have the ability and this well of love that they can give back to us. And so it comes back to, you know, being on an airplane, doing your oxygen mask first. You know, so when we start to think kind thoughts about ourselves, when we start to think kind thoughts about our body, compassionate thoughts about, let's say, our little toe, or the fact that our hair grows, you know, or the idea that our heart beats, or our stomach works at all, or we have the ability to think. When we start focusing on how amazing and cool and interesting and beautiful we are, that starts to fill our well. We've been thinking that, well, you have to give love in order to get love. Now, maybe that was true a few hundred years ago. That's not so true anymore. Now we're all in such a deficit that you give love, and it just gets sucked up into this black hole of need that people have, or need that change, you know, has to have. And it's like it just disappears. The love and caring that we're giving out into the universe just sort of wisps away because the need is so humongous. But the problem is eventually we don't have any more love to give because we're numb and we're angry and we're tired, and we've been nurturing and being compassionate towards so many situations. And it takes almost getting furious and angry for us to even feel passionate again. It's kind of crazy because our passion is more than just being passionate to make a change. Our passion is also passion for living, passion for caring and feeling alive, passion for every day. And we've lost that because we've given up our passion to people and situations and places that don't have the ability to give back to us, that aren't giving back to us, who don't even know how to give back to us. And so us, who have been the cornerstone of love, we're wearing down and wearing out. So this is the paradigm shift. You need to start turning around that love towards yourself. Start turning around that care and nurturing towards you. Now, I get a lot of women who also come in and they say, I don't know how to love myself. Loving yourself starts with feeling love. And it can be feeling love for anything about you. Like, I really love how my ears are shaped. Or, I really love how comfortable these socks feel on my feet. Or, I really love how plump this pillow feels. Exactly. How can you love others if you don't love yourself? And I used to wonder what that meant. until I realized it's because when we don't feed that compassion and that nurturing inside of us, then we don't have anything to give to anybody else. Because people aren't going to give us love and care and compassion. They will, but not at the level that we need. Not as adults. We need a very high level of compassion. Our need is almost greater than children, because as children, they need a lot of love. And people will generally give it to them because they're children, because it's their job. We need to give them love and care. And usually they can find people around that can give that to them. As adults, it's as if once we hit 18 or 16 or 15 or 13, we were told, you're on your own. You know, now your job is to love everybody else. Your job is to give to the big giant hole that's out there of need for compassion and caring. And we believed that. And we took our focus off of what we needed to get in return. And then little by little, we were able to push through. We were able to take all those resources and push through the difficulty and keep loving and raise our kids and be there for other people. We could do that. But after about 20 years, we start to empty out. There isn't a lot left, especially because we haven't been taught how to focus on caring about ourselves. And caring about ourselves doesn't have to be anything big. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to even be really time consuming. What it is changing your thoughts about how you see yourself. So I was working with people for a while on fixing their knees so that they could avoid surgery. And I gave them a great little trick. And the trick was, when you love your knee, then your body starts to heal your knee. It starts to send blood there, and white blood cells and nervous system signals, and you're basically telling it, I want you to love this knee. I want you to fix it. And so they would do that, and miraculously now they could start walking upstairs, and they have all avoided knee surgery, which is pretty fun and amazing to watch. So that's how you love yourself. If you don't know how, it starts by placing a hand anywhere on your body and saying to yourself, I love you. If you can't find, anything big, if you can't look in the mirror and look at your face, then touch your foot and say, I love you. Touch your knee or touch your heart. Touch anything that calls to you, because it's calling to you because it wants your love and attention. And let it know that you love it. When we have aches and pains or stomach upsets or a throat chokes up or a heart chokes up, our first desire is to run away in the opposite direction. We want to avoid it. We want to ignore it because it's uncomfortable. What will it mean? What door will it open up that will cause all sorts of problems? And that's actually how our love deficit gets bigger. You're welcome, Carolyn. I'm glad you're doing it right now. So it's calling to you. And if you avoid it or ignore that part of you, or take an Advil or take a pill or a Xanax, which, trust me, I do that myself. Don't worry about it. But when we do that, hi, Deb, great to see you. We're making the problem worse because we're not actually going to that part of us and giving it the love and the healing that it needs. And so it continues to be a draw on our energy too. Do you know how hard it is to be happy when you don't feel good? How hard it is to be nice to people when your hip aches or your heart aches. The way to heal that is by thinking loving thoughts and giving your attention to that part of you. And if that's how you can start by loving yourself, that's what makes the change and will get your well filled. We all think we have to do more or be more or give more or achieve more in order to feel good. And in reality, that's not what makes you feel good. And when you do get in the habit, Carolyn, you're right. It starts to become very easy because it starts to become just an everyday thing that you do. Now, one of my friends is on here today, and her name is Deb. And I've always admired her. She would produce plays for us, and I did community theater. And she had the ability to create magic out of virtually nothing. She didn't have any budget. She didn't have any support. She didn't have, people rallying behind her. She had virtually nothing to work with in order to raise her family and live her life and make things happen. And she would create magic out of nothing. And that's actually where love and caring and healing comes from. It doesn't come from having a lot of resources outside of you. It doesn't come from having things that can support you. It comes from choosing that love and making that magic inside of you. And it starts very simply. Resting your hand on your knee. You're welcome, Deb. Resting your hand on your knee and saying, I love you. And as corny as that sounds, you'll start to notice a shift. I worked with a young woman yesterday who'd never been taught how to deal with her emotions. And after PTSD and being at the end of her rope and now pregnant, she's really struggling. So we sat there and I did a little technique with her. I said, okay, when you say you feel anxious, how does it feel in your body? Where do you feel it in your body? And she'd say, my heart feels constricted. My chest feels constricted. And I would say, put your hand on your heart or your chest and put your attention and focus there. That's how we love it. We put our attention and focus on things that we love. And so when she would do that, it would calm down and it would dial down. We give our attention is our love, all right? And we've been giving our attention to so many things in the world that isn't giving us that love and attention back. It's ignoring us. It's treating us like we're a number. And so it's time you gave your attention to you. And you know the parts of you that need it. It's the parts that hurt. It's the parts that are uncomfortable, that feel tight. We think we're in our head and we think it's because of this problem or that problem. And what it's really is parts of you are calling to you to love them and give them attention. And when you start doing that on a regular basis, you start to feel better. And when you start to feel better, you start to feel less mad. And when you start to feel less mad, you start being able to care more again and love more again and be present and love your life and find that passion. That's what happens. So we were taught, if you want to feel good, you need to give. And that's super important. But they missed the first step, is you have to give to you. And you have to give to you in those tiny, small ways every day that give your attention to I love you. Whether it's the kind of tea that you like to drink and not settling, whether it's you stay in bed just a few minutes longer and think about how comfortable you are or how good it feels. Or maybe it's listening to music that you love. We've taken these things away from ourselves because there's too much to do. But in reality, the more we give to ourselves, the more we have to give to other people. Carolyn says it doesn't matter what others think of us. It matters what we think of ourselves. Yeah, that's exactly it. Because we've spent so long caring about how other people feel, how other people are moving through that world. And that could be a great term called codependency. But, codependency is way too big of a word. Instead, it's you can care about other people and how they feel, and you need to care about how you feel first. Only when you care about how you feel and make sure that you love and give your focus and attention on you will you have anything left to give to anybody else. And then you can be like my friend Deb and make magic out of virtually nothing. Okay? So that's it for today. I will see you tomorrow morning at 8:15. I hope this was really helpful. If you loved it, then share it or comment on it, and I'll always get back to people. So thank you for being here with me today, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.